murdered by the suspect who disappeared. But Mr. Speaker, I refuse to sit in this house to listen to the Cabinet Secretary confirm that his ministry cannot be able to capture suspects who were previously under their arms and custody. I refuse to sit in this house, Mr. Speaker, to listen to that kind of an explanation.
You are already sitting in this house.
Yes, I'm refusing to listen to the answer he's giving. It is not right for the Cabinet Secretary to come to answer a question and tell us that the suspect disappeared and is not giving us hope. Which hope is he telling the people, the victims? What hope is he promising? Is he telling us that we are going to wait for the suspect to disappear forever? It has been 3 months since the suspect disappeared, Mr. Speaker. Those are families that are paining, grieving loved ones. We watch on television bodies being retrieved from Kware, this dump site, Mr. Speaker. The minister cannot come here and tell us that he wants members of public to help him identify suspect who was previously in their custody. As a woman leader, as a mother of girls, I refuse to take that kind of an answer from the Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you. Yes, Lelmengit.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I would also want to thank the Honorable CS for articulating and giving answers and statements concerning our questions. My question is, Honorable Speaker, to the Honorable CS is, given that many who are demonstrating were youth voicing either their frustrations. Sorry?
We are way past that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Honorable Speaker.
Being a first-timer, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
When you joyride, you must be relevant to the question. But go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me rephrase my question again. Given that those who are demonstrating, Honorable Speaker, were mostly the youth who are voicing their frustrations and probably political frustrations, is the government open to structured dialogue with them so that we can avoid this menace in the future? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mama Nairobi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I think the CS needs to understand the pain that we're having as women when we see the number...
Hold on, Basaris. Take your seat. Honorable Mchomba, it is discourtesy to the House for you to ask a question being prosecuted now with supplementaries and then walk out. It is total discourtesy. Go back and take your seat. Order, Wamchomba. That question is dropped. Mother Wangari? Yes. Mother Wangari, honorable members, those kind of bravado and playing to the gallery does not help at all. I have brought here the minister for you to interrogate him. If the answer given to the question is inadequate, that's why I give you supplementaries to probe even further and ask the minister. The same way we have had Robert Mbui, Mwenje, and others following up with questions. This is not a house for scoring bonga points politically. It's a house for representing your people. Yes, Owen.
Honorable Speaker, while I respect your advice on this, Honorable Speaker, but also this is a house of rules, which everybody in this chamber must and should abide. Our standing orders are very clear, that when you defy a speaker's ruling or order, there are consequences to it. Honorable Speaker, we learn through such things, and precedence is set through such. Honorable Speaker, I urge you to use your whip on this and show the power that resides in the seat of the Speaker as you sit on it, that this honorable member, as we all agree, must face the consequences of denying a Speaker. And therefore, I urge you, Honorable Speaker, that you use the standing orders and issue very stern action against this member, Honorable Speaker. That I request of you, so that other members do not emulate and do the same in the future.
Thank
Honorable
you.
Speaker.
I'll deal with it before the rise of the House. Mother Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 12 of 2025. Could the Cabinet Secretary, number 1, explain the steps taken by the ministry to investigate allegations of child sex trafficking in Maimahiu, Nakuru County, in light of the media expose released on 4th of August 2025, and clarify whether any arrests have been made? Sorry, Mr. Speaker, my machine is misbehaving. This machine. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I got it.
You can read
Thank
from
you.
the hard copy being handed
Thank
to
you, thank you, and thank you to the member of Molo, who is my neighbor and my friend, for assisting. Let me take it again, Mr. Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary, number 1, explain the steps taken by the ministry to investigate allegations of child sex trafficking in Maimahiu, Nakuru County, in light of the media expose released on 4th of August 2025, and clarify whether any arrests have been made of the individuals implicated in the trafficking? Number 2, provide a report detailing the number of children being trafficked and explain why security agencies, including the Inspector General of Police, have failed to take immediate action on the matter. And finally, Mr. Speaker, state the measures in place to rescue and rehabilitate the affected children back to society, including steps taken to ensure their safety and psychosocial support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister. Minister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to respond as follows. Regarding the steps being taken by the ministry to investigate allegations of child sex trafficking in Maimahiu, Nakuru County. Mr. Speaker, following allegations of trafficking in persons involving children for purpose of sexual exploitation in Maimahiu town, Nakuru County, through a viral BBC. Just, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if it is with your indulgence. Anyway, I'll raise that later, now that you have consultation. Mr. Speaker, following the allegations of trafficking in persons involving children for purpose of sexual exploitation in Maimahiu town, Nakuru County, through a viral BBC documentary, officers from anti-human trafficking and child protection units were deployed. On 6th August 2025, 4 witnesses were interviewed and their statements recorded. Neema, Selina, and Mary Nyambura Njeri, who had both been interviewed in the BBC documentary, posing as victims of child sexual exploitation, as well as Millicent Muturi Wairimu, the chairlady of commercial sex workers in Maimahiu Township, and Jane Wamuyu Kungu, caretaker of Tamasha Lodgings. The 4 stated that they had been approached by the BBC investigative journalists who requested them to identify vulnerable girls aged between 17 and 21 years for a purported foreign sponsorship program. On 7th August 2025, the team summoned Lucy Njoroge, alias Baby Girl, a former commercial sex worker who now works with NGO called K-Note as a volunteer peer educator based on Karagita Health Center. Lucy had in the BBC documentary, Lucy had featured in the BBC documentary based at Karagita Health Center. I'll take that again, Mr. Speaker. Lucy had featured in the BBC documentary claiming to rescue and assist street girls and sex workers. She stated that she lives with 4 young women whom she rescued from the streets of Naivasha. Michelle Wanjiku, who is 20, Lilian Wairumu, 19, Elizabeth Nyambura, 24, and Mine Njeri, who is 22. All 4 were interviewed, their statements recorded, and copies of their identification documents were obtained. The investigators proceeded to Karagita Health Center, where KNOT operates an office used to store contraceptives and maintain related records. Lucy was confirmed to be a liaison officer between KNOT and the health facility. On 8th of August 2025, the team interviewed John Kamau Kinuthia, the Naivasha Sub-County Gender-Based Networking Cluster Coordinator, who collaborates with several organizations, including Life Broom International, KNOT, Disability Resource Information Center, Naivasha Partners for Change, Young Men in Championing Ending Gender-Based Violence, and YMCA. He confirmed having introduced Lucy to the BBC officials. To date, 14 witnesses have been interviewed and their statements recorded with relevant documents obtained. All locations featured in the BBC documentary have been identified, visited, and documented by the crime scene investigation team. The BBC crew members have been identified as Njeri Mwangi, Stephen Ruiyi, Anthony, Zipporah Ndinda, Kagunda, Beth Wamboi Waidera, Anastasia, and Nick Milne, a foreign national. According to the witnesses, BBC representative promised substantial payments and lifestyle benefits to those who were involved. Investigations have further revealed that the documentary footage was recorded in Mai Mahiu and Karagita. Witnesses were linked to one another in various capacities within the sex work community. Millicent Wairimu, the chairlady of commercial sex workers, confirmed that she had been approached by the individual known as Snorina, with whom she had previously worked at North Star, and thereafter introduced her fellow sex workers, Judith Wanjiru Njoroke. Jane Woman involved her daughter-in-law, Neema Selina, while Millicent also sourced 3 other girls, Faith Weta, Mary Njoki, and Faith Njeri. The Weta is, I'm sure. The Speaker.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the Speaker.
Yeah, we are yet to confirm, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
yes, TJ. Yes, TJ. Give him the mic.
Mr. Speaker, sir, is the minister in order to suggest that the Honorable Speaker, aka Papa Waroma, could be or is inferred to be a suspect? And is there active investigation going on in this matter, and how far the investigation has reached, Mr. Speaker, sir?
Mr. Speaker, whereas the Speaker, as the Speaker of this House, is not involved, we cannot confirm whether Faith Weta is related to the Speaker in any way. And it doesn't mean that there is any impropriety on his part. I'm just saying that this is a name. It could be from the same clan, neighborhood. It could have also, somebody could have named his daughter after the Speaker. But
there are very many people who have named their children after the Speaker.
After the Speaker, yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Out of admiration.
It is very important, Mr. Speaker, to clarify that it is only out of admiration. Now, Mr. Speaker, that is, let me take that again. So, Jane Wamuyu, upon learning of the arrangement, this arrangement involved, financial exchange and so forth. Jane Wamuyu, upon learning of the arrangement, involved her daughter-in-law, Neema Selina, while Millicent also sourced 3 other girls, Faith Weta, Mary Njoki, and Faith Njeri, who is yet to be traced. Faith Njeri is yet to be traced. Lucy introduced 4 girls to BBC team. Alice Jambura Nyawira, alias Naserian, stroke Elizabeth Nyambura, Mine Njeri, Lillian Wairimu, and Michelle Wanjiro. The investigation has established that the BBC team primarily sought underage girls involved in sex work. However, some of the girls allegedly falsified their age to qualify for the promised sponsorship. 2 women identified in the documentary as Cherop and Nyambura were confirmed to be Judith Nyambura Njoroge, a sex worker in Maimayu for 2 months, and Caroline Kinyanjui, who had operated there for 2 years. 2 women portrayed in the documentary as child traffickers, identified as Judy and Caro, were reportedly promised significant sums of money and have since relocated to unknown locations. No arrests have been made so far, but investigations are ongoing, including obtaining financial records and call data to link all involved parties and tracing missing witnesses. Concerning reports detailing the number of children being trafficked, Mr. Speaker, the police, through anti-human trafficking and child protection units, commenced investigations immediately upon receiving the report. Several witnesses have since recorded their statements to assist in investigation to identify and rescue minors involved in the sexual exploitation scheme. Preliminary findings indicate that some of the girls interviewed by BBC falsified their age to qualify for the promised sponsorship, as the BBC team was interested in underage girls engaged in sex work. The matter remains under active investigations, and upon its conclusion, appropriate legal action will be taken against individuals found culpable of any offenses. Mr. Speaker, on measures put in place to rescue and rehabilitate affected children back to society. Mr. Speaker, there is no denying that cases of child sexual exploitation exist across the country, particularly along Northern Corridor, which serves as an international transport hub. While it's possible that the BBC crew aimed to shed light on these issues, it's now apparent that the documentary failed to meet the intended purpose due to falsified information from several interviewees. Although prostitution is illegal in Kenya, it remains widespread, with sex workers openly soliciting. Additionally, access to hotels and lodging facilities is largely unregulated, with inadequate measures in place to prevent minors from gaining entry. We have issued clear and firm directives to our security teams on the ground, including officers from the National Administration, to take decisive action against the child sexual exploitation and human trafficking across the country. Mr. Speaker, upon identification of victims, the government, in collaboration with other stakeholders, will implement the following measures to support and reintegrate children affected by abuse and human trafficking. 1, the Child Protection Unit will actively pursue a rescue of victims and facilitate the placement in safe environment, including private rescue centers, children's homes, and postal institutions where applicable. 2, the Children Protection Unit will provide psychosocial support services to address the emotional and mental well-being of the victims. 3, victims will be subjected to thorough medical examination and offered appropriate treatment to ensure their physical health and recovery. And finally, continuous follow-up and monitoring will be undertaken to ensure the safety and successful rehabilitation of the rescued children into the society. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I also want to note, Mr. Speaker, before I ask my follow-up question, that the KEWOPA chair also raised this as a statement in the morning. And Mr. Speaker, what I would like to clarify from the CS is that this issue is not new. In Maimahiu, it is also in some areas in Kikope, it's also in some areas in Sachangwan, where we have long tracks.
It is along the entire Northern Corridor.
Yes. So it,
all the way to Congo.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the CS maybe can tell us, first of all, are you confirming that there were no underage children that were actually for real in this trade? And secondly, there were some women, specifically 2, who had been implicated in that expose. Have they been arrested? It is very important. And finally, the issue of BBC payouts, Mr. Speaker, brings another issue of media ethics. If we have a reporter operating in this country and is using money to lure or get falsified information, what does that mean in terms of our law? So I would be interested to know, has any action been taken against these specific reporters if they for real falsified this information for the attraction or to make news or to make sensational news, Mr. Speaker? Thank you.
In fact, Minister, if you listen to that BBC so-called expose like I did, the purpose was not to bring any facts to the fore. The purpose was to besmirch the country. If you listen to it carefully, it was not meant to expose anything. It was meant to besmirch the country and more so an African person. Go on and respond to Wangari. Sorry, Shakil, you want to joyride on that?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker. Next to me. Mr. Speaker, you rightly say that this, the expose has hidden, some hidden agenda. As APNAC, we had a conversation with the British High Commission, somebody from the British High Commission this afternoon. And one of the issues that raised to me was this issue as what are we doing about this particular purpose? And I was a little taken aback and I said, look, we have our security services. But the most important, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, I'm actually one of the male members of KEWEPA. But even in APNAC, we have this fallback by some Western powers who are now looking at us as if we are primitive. Well, I reminded that gentleman that there's a lot of sexual crime in the United Kingdom which we do not talk about. So I endorse what you have said, Mr. Speaker, and but we must really try and find those two people if they are really guilty and liable. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, let me say that we are confirming from this report that, Mr. Speaker, the entire report was fake because the people who were interviewed were not underage. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, I went the whole length to read their names, their pseudonyms, Mr. Speaker, and who they are, what they do, and why, what was the motivating factor when they were posing as children. Mr. Speaker, that is not, and the statement also is very clear. That is not to say there may be no cases of sexual exploitation of young people in the country. And Mr. Speaker, the security agencies, including the anti-trafficking unit, have done tremendous work since the days of Gilbert Dare, Mr. Speaker, among others, to make sure that these incidents are managed. But we still have cases of human trafficking, including those that come from neighboring countries passing through Kenya, or Mr. Speaker, young people that are being lured. They may be no underage, but being lured also for jobs abroad, and they suffer. And I answered questions in this chamber before relating especially young people from the northern part of the country. So that is not to say we are not grappling with issues of human trafficking, but as far as the BBC documentary is concerned, it was a hoax. It was Mr. Speaker, planned, executed in a manner to portray that there were underage girls that were, going through sexual exploitation, while in reality, the people who are playing the game knew that they were not. Now, on the part of BBC, insofar as media ethics is concerned, it remains at large there to know whether, the first question is, why would someone promise financial reward in case information is going to be shared? Was the financial reward intended to get a good story that can be aired by BBC and therefore improve the well-being of the reporter? Or was it also the financial reward was actually part of the tricks that were being used by BBC to see if they can find actual young children, Mr. Speaker. And that remains also to be unraveled through the investigations. And Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the conclusions that were being made brings to question an international media house like BBC in terms of verifying their sources, Mr. Speaker, before airing such a very explosive story. Be it as it may, we continue to take seriously cases of gender-based violence, sexual exploitation, trafficking, and child trafficking and human trafficking generally. We take them seriously, Mr. Speaker, whether or not it was contained in the BBC documentary, because it's a human rights issue and it is organized transnational crime that we must deal with together. And we all know that there are actual challenges where children are trafficked. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't stop the fact that the Mai Mahiu incident, the BBC report was a hoax, does not mean that we sleep and don't do the job that we are expected to do. Mr. Speaker, what will be done? What about the people who are implicated in the documentary? Mr. Speaker, since then these were not children, Mr. Speaker, it becomes difficult to charge them or to take legal action against them, Mr. Speaker. However, investigation must go even further to establish...
They have committed offenses, conspiracy to cause public despondency.
I'm just saying the people who are implicated by those in the documentary, by saying X and Y is involved in child trafficking. Mr. Speaker...
Point of order, Chair. Yes. Speaker.
Sorry.
Yeah. My point of order, Speaker, will be on the penal code. It's very clear that profiteering at all is a crime, specifically from soliciting for...
Procuring?
Yes.
Soliciting?
And profiteering. Yes.
Are criminal offenses?
Yes. So there are still enough grounds for the Cabinet Secretary or for the agencies to look for those specific women who have been actually interviewed. And if they gave false information, Mr. Speaker, they also should take action because they are also adding to what the BBC is doing.
I think we are very clear on that one, and we agree with the Honourable Member. I meant, and I thought I understood the question of Honourable Wangari to mean, what have we done to arrest those who were implicated in the documentary itself? You know, the documentary is mentioning names of certain people who are engaged in trafficking young girls for sexual exploitation. Mr. Speaker, and that's why I said, because the documentary itself is a hoax, then it's very difficult to charge the persons who have been implicated. However, there may be possibility that if you do the investigations about child abuse and trafficking and sexual exploitation, it may also be that it is true that those people have been mentioned. So the investigation will help us to understand whether those people, whether or not the documentary was a hoax, are also involved in child trafficking for sexual exploitation. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit.
Honorable Orone, I've noticed you on phone for the last 40 minutes. And your colleagues, the member for Nairobi, has been shifting seats 3 times to avoid your nuisance. You are out of order. You are at liberty to use the speaker's holding room behind here to go and make calls, or go to the lobby out there. As to the case of Honorable Wamchomba, in law we call it we call it condemned in the face of the court. Condemned in the face of the court, not just condemned of court, condemned in the face of the court. And members, you all are witnesses to this. Under Standing Order 107A, as read with 1A and 3, and having been prompted by the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Mchomba shall serve a suspension from the House of 20 days, excluding the recess days. And in those days, she will not be allowed to enter the precincts of Parliament or enjoy the facilities of Parliament, including the restaurants, the gym, and the office. And honorable members, you are distinguished elected people representing people who send you here. There's no point filing questions for purposes of playing to the gallery and then defiantly walking away. You will not sit in the House and you are sitting in the House. Those tantrums don't make this House look any better. And many times you have your children sitting in the gallery. You have your voters sitting in the gallery. We are relaying these proceedings live. If you can't respect your speaker in this House, who else will you respect? The next question, CS Honorable Tienda Molo, I'm aware is leading our football team to play with governors in Homa Bay during the conference, so we'll stay the question until next time. He has not appointed anybody to ask for him. Next question, Esther Passaris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the ministry is yet to implement the use of body-worn cameras for all police officers involved in arrests, interrogations, and custodial transfers of suspects? Could the Cabinet Secretary also provide clear timelines on when the ministry intends to roll out the use of body-worn cameras across all police operations? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence and permission, yes. I just want, for avoidance of doubt, so that it doesn't go to the public like we didn't have an answer on the quarry issue, to go on record that I had a follow-up answer based on the question that was raised.
You had, in fact, answered the question. It was at the supplementary level.
Even at the supplementary level, Mr. Speaker, yes. I was willing to supply more information based on
the question is dropped, so
what the honourable member had raised, so that it is clear that we are ready and to deal with this issue. And it was a subject of a very, very presidential task force inquiry that the President established in the Femicide Committee, and I wanted to inform the House. But be it as it may, it has been dropped. When the time comes, we will deal with it. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Honorable Passaris, Mr. Speaker, the use of body-worn cameras is critical in enhancing transparency and accountability in police operations. The Minister has come up with a modernization program aimed at upgrading its security equipment, like the digitization of police concurrence book and instant fines for motorists in phased rollout plan. Given the capital-intensive nature of the police modernization program, and owing to the budgetary constraint, the Ministry is already engaging with key stakeholders to mobilize resources to support towards realization. Mr. Speaker, on the part of concerning the timelines, the Ministry continues to lobby for more budgetary allocation from the National Treasury and this House to meet its logistical and operational requirements. Once additional budgeted proposals are approved and funds are disbursed, the Ministry will implement the modernization of police equipment, including body-worn cameras, in a phased approach. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Passaris.
Mr. Speaker, I understand about the budgetary concerns, but when it comes to, if we can't roll out the body-worn cameras immediately, we do have a situation where it's not very clear, especially after what happened at Central Police. It's not very clear whether we have rolled out surveillance cameras in every police station in the country. If we have that, why was the one at Central Police not working when it should have been working?
Yes, Minister. Sorry, Owen Bayer on the same. You can joyride on that. And then Mukunji, then the Minister will answer.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this Parliament, I initiated an amendment to the law to include body cam as one of those wearables for police officers, so that it is very definite of what it is, and that when it is in the law, then it guarantees that government will provide for it. But the response we got, and that's why the bill was dropped, was that it is already covered in the law. And I didn't dispute that. But, Honorable Speaker, as long as there is no statute that pushes that police officers must wear body cams, I don't think there'll be commitment to really actually buy this. I would like the Minister to agree with me that we introduce deliberately a clause in the Police Act that we introduce body cam as one of the wearables. Honorable Speaker, it covers two things. Many times, police are falsely accused because there's no gadget that actually tells the story. And sometimes police, when they wear a body cam, like other jurisdictions like South Africa, like in the United States, where police actually wear body cams, it is easier to resolve some of the issues that we have that boil up to a point where we have demonstrations and killing of people and all that. And even during demonstration, we're going to cover a lot of issues, and court cases will be faster disposed when we have body cams worn by police, Honorable Speaker. I urge that the minister looks for, he be the first minister to actually introduce body cams in this country so that we can avoid so many issues that come with policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just want to ask Honorable Speaker for the minister to take this matter seriously. And Honorable Speaker, I want to write this with even my experience while I was being arrested. But also, Honorable Speaker,
just avoid the temptation to use yourself as an example.
Yes,
because
I am out of that place. I'm heading to somewhere else. Honorable Speaker, currently, as we are speaking today, for the last 3 days, there has been clashes between Mbere and Embu people in a town called Siakago in Embu County. And also, Speaker, this is being caused by the fact that there has been stealing of bodabodas, but there is an allegation of police officers taking bribes and allowing bodabodas to just disappear. Honorable Speaker, if we have gadgets that can be able, Honorable Speaker, to show what exactly the police are doing when they are doing their work, Honorable Speaker, I would really, Honorable Speaker, ask Waziri, because it is coming to now issue of ethnic clashes because of failure of security organs to do their work.
Thank you. Point made. Minister?
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, let me say that I am a supporter of body-worn cameras, first of all, and technology as has been ably pronounced by my friend Honorable Owen and Honorable Mukunji, my friends. Mr. Speaker, the body-worn cameras requires certain level of technology investment. Mr. Speaker, that is necessary for us to, it's not just one of those investments that will be standalone. It's the whole issue of modernization of the police service, particularly communication and for transparency. We have been grappling with that idea as to how best can we do this with the support of private sector. And we realize that most of the investment in the security sector does not have revenue raising, it does not lead to collection of revenue. However, Mr. Speaker, there is a planned program that is going on about instant finding system for the transport, which I left it being pushed from the transport sector, and now we are working together with the Minister of Transport to make sure that it is realized. Mr. Speaker, we hope that the resources that will come from the instant finding, Mr. Speaker, the part that is shared to the National Police Service will be plowed back by investing in technology. And this is something that, Mr. Speaker, I am hoping to see in the next 2 years, that it is the instant finding system is implemented. Then we can raise the resources to make sure that we can invest in technology. Remember, it's not enough to have the camera, body-worn camera. There must be a command center, with the entire technology, with enough people to monitor, and perhaps you might even sometimes want to make sure that you decentralize it so that it is easy to monitor different parts of our country. Again, it's also a deterrent by itself. A police officer who is wearing a body cam knows for sure that he cannot take a bribe, Mr. Speaker. And it's not just the police officer, it will deter also the person who wants to bribe the police officer. Mr. Speaker, I remember saying this yesterday in after Jukwaa Usalama in Nakuru, that we often just talk about the responsibility that the police officer has, Mr. Speaker, in terms of fighting corruption. But that traffic police officer, Mr. Speaker, who is led into temptation by this business mogul, Mr. Speaker, who is driving on the road, that businessman must also be equally punished the same way the police officer is being punished. Both of them.
Are you sure they are tempted or they solicit?
Mr. Speaker, in some cases, in actually many cases, we overspeed, and because we know we oversped, before the police officer even approach your vehicle, you're already holding your hand with something to give the police officer. And in some instances, it is the police officer also is walking to you, and they have an arrangement with the Matatu people who already just presents their hand to be given something. So this thing, you can't blame one side alone. It's a society problem that we must deal with. Mr. Speaker, people just pay bribes because they have not committed an offense, but they don't like the inconvenience of going through a court, Mr. Speaker, to be clear, through a court process. So we need all of us. But these cameras will solve both the problem of the traffic officer and the person who wants to bribe the traffic officer, meaning many people also will abide by the law because they will realize that there is no room for them to bribe anyone. So I support it, and Mr. Speaker, I'll take it up. This is an innovation that we must continue taking up. The last thing is to pick from Honorable Mukunji. It is true that we have had an incident in the Siakago, Mr. Speaker, that involves two communities. That, Mr. Speaker, involves both the stealing of motorcycles, or alleged stealing of motorcycles, and also invasion of business premises and destruction of property. Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police has deployed police officers to deal with this issue. There was allegations that because of inherent conflict of interest among some of the police officers, even when they have not committed anything, Mr. Speaker, if you come from one of the communities, you become suspicious, the people become suspicious that you will side with one of the warring communities. And so, Mr. Speaker, the Inspector General of Police has made changes, not to punish the officers, but to restore confidence among the local communities, both communities, to ensure that justice will be done and they will be protected. This is a live matter that we are dealing with, and it's not just in that situation. In many other situations, Mr. Speaker, body-worn cameras may be useful to avert laxity on the part of police officers. I thank you.
Next question
and
by
Mr. Speaker,
Millie.
If I may say, Mr. Speaker, I would encourage Honorable Mukunji, next time we have Jukwaa Usalama in his county, he can attend. It's a free forum for us to solve those local problems. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The next question by Honorable Millie Odhiambo will be stayed to the next time. She's away in Homa Bay hosting the devolution conference. James Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 066 of 2025. The Cabinet Secretary to clarify whether the National Police Service undertakes psychological and mental health assessment during recruitment of police officers, including whether police officers recently recruited have undergone such evaluation. And two, Mr. Speaker, to provide details on the psychological, mental health, and behavioral adaptation components incorporated in police training curriculum, and indicate whether the curriculum promotes a punitive and adversarial approach towards the public rather than a rehabilitative and correctional approach. And three, Mr. Speaker, state the measures put in place to ensure continuous assessment of the psychological and mental well-being of police officers, particularly with regard to their fitness to perform policing duties. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The service undertakes medical examination for potential recruits, which include psychological evaluation, mental health assessment, and aptitude test. The psychological evaluation process entails screening for emotional stability, stress tolerance, personality traits, and behavioral risk factors. Aptitude test, conducted as part of the same framework, assess critical cognitive skills such as reasoning, memory, and decision-making capacity, of all which are essential for the effective discharge of police service. Mr. Speaker, on the second part, the National Police Service training curriculum has integrated psychological, mental health, and behavioral adaptation components into the following areas. One, the National Police Service training curriculum incorporates stress management content across all levels of training and ranks. These modules aim to build psychological resilience and help officers cope effectively with the emotional demands of policing. Strategic management and leadership courses embed emotional intelligence training to enhance senior officers' capacity to understand and regulate their emotions, demonstrate empathy, and engage in constructive interpersonal communication. This supports better making and conflict environment resolution in high-pressure environment. Officers' wellness and resilience programs are actively provided to all serving officers. These initiatives are implemented in collaboration with specialized institutions such as Chiromo Hospital Group and Amani Counseling Center and Training Institute. The programs include psychological support, counseling, and wellness education to promote mental well-being and prevent burnout. The curriculum is designed to strike a balance between punitive, adversarial, and rehabilitative correctional approaches to policing, depending on the nature of the situation and the operational demands as follows. One, punitive and adversarial components are emphasized in units such as drill, skill at arms, field craft, and physical training. These subjects prepare officers to maintain discipline, enforce lawful authority, and exercise effective command and control. They are critical for managing high-risk situations such as effective arrests, dispersing violent crowds, and neutralizing terrorist threats. These units help instill a warrior mindset when dealing with hostile or dangerous circumstances where officers and public safety are paramount. Rehabilitative and correctional approaches are integrated in subjects like community policing, community communication skills, first aid, and human rights training. These subjects are mandatory across all the training levels, from basic recruit training to command and leadership courses for senior officers. The units emphasize empathy, trust building, and seeing members of the public as partners in crime prevention and safety. Officers are trained to adopt proactive, solution-oriented strategies such as diversion, conflict mediation, and non-coercive methods to gain compliance. These courses promote a guardian mindset, which reflects a commitment to ethical policing, public service, and the protection of human dignity. On measures put in place to ensure a continuous assessment of the psychological and mental well-being of officers, Mr. Speaker, the following measures have been put in place to ensure continuous assessment of the psychological and mental well-being of the officers. Number one is the institutionalized periodic psychological evaluation for officers. This screening helps detect early signs of stress, trauma, or mental health challenges, especially after critical deployment or, Mr. Speaker, critical incidents or deployments. Two, developed a mental health and wellness policy, which guides the implementation of psychosocial interventions, confidentiality protocols, referral pathways, and reintegration of officers after treatment. Psychologists, counselors, and social workers have been deployed to major police stations and formations countrywide. This ensures that officers can access on-site timely counseling services without having to be referred to externally unless it is extremely necessary. Introduced peer support networks where trained officers offer mental health, first aid, and psychosocial support to their colleagues. These peer supporters are trained to identify signs of distress, provide initial support, and refer cases needing professional help. 5, officers involved in distressing operations such as shooting incidents and terror-related incidents are subjected to immediate psychological debriefing. This helps in processing trauma, preventing traumatic stress disorder, and promoting emotional recovery. 6, to promote holistic well-being, officers are encouraged to participate in wellness activities such as physical fitness, routines, guided meditation, team-building exercises, and spiritual retreats organized by Directorate of Chaplaincy and Counseling. 7, confidential reporting channels have been established for officers to seek help without fear of stigma. Some stations have designated safe spaces for counseling and mental health check-ins. 8, recognize the impact of police work on families. The government has introduced family counseling and outreach programs. This involves spouses and children in the healing and support process and help reduce domestic tensions and emotional stresses. Finally, number 9, for officers who have been on medical or psychological leave, reintegration program help them transition back to duty safely and effectively. This includes step-by-step assessment, mentorship, and support from peer teams and psychologists. I thank you.
Yes, Dr. Nikal, that's satisfactory.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for a very well laid out response. However, I have a concern that actually led me to this. What we have observed first of all, in the general working of the police force, and also during demonstrations, and even in their homes, actually do not indicate that what you are saying really happens. There's obviously increased homicide amongst the police in use of firearms, attacking each other, their seniors, and that's normally a sign that something is actually wrong in the system. 2, suicide, again, is an indication that basically something is wrong, and this is common, and we get many reports. And 3, their conduct during tense situations. I was particularly concerned when I saw what happened in the case of Boniface. Once somebody ceases to be a threat to the security of a police officer, one would expect that now that person is actually further protected. But if you looked at the police officer who shot Boniface, he was going away almost celebrating that somebody who has scored a goal. That is not proper. And again, once somebody is down, the continual beating of the same person indicates that the psychological state of the officer is not actually security at that point, but further punishment and harm. So I don't know how often this is done and what is taken, and maybe if you have the information, I did ask for that. How many police officers have actually, one, been actually retrained or put out of service because of that, or actually punished when their behavior is out of the normal in regard to what their mental status should be when they're carrying out the sensitive jobs that we know they do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the CS has actually, on the answer to the issue of police training, he has actually tried to explain that the curriculum promotes both the punitive and adversarial approach towards the public and also a rehabilitative and correctional approach. Mr. Speaker, I beg to differ, and I think the only approach that should be allowed by the police is the one of rehabilitative and correctional, because the punishment is not really one of the responsibilities of the police force. because they are not supposed to punish. It is a court of law that are supposed to do the punishment. But Mr. Speaker, also agreeing on what Honorable Nyikala said, we have all witnessed online a lot of things that the comments they make, the actions that police take, and you saw that in the case that he has just talked about, that officer that shot Boniface Karaoke didn't just go and shoot him. He made several attempts. He took aim several times. He would take aim, then walk away and rethink about it. Took aim about 3 times. Finally decided to shoot. So clearly there was a confusion, or there was something that was probing him. So it's important that these police get help so that they can be able to do this job. I know it's strenuous, Mr. Speaker, it's very stressful. And Mr. Speaker, also many times when things go wrong, we all start blaming the police. And some of them, by the way, are very innocent. I know one shot me, broke my leg. But there are also very many that were also in the same demonstrations that were not acting in the same manner. So I think it's something that they need to go through continuously so that we can ensure that their mental health is stable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Sane.
Mr. Speaker, the question by Honorable Nyikala is so specific. Question 1 asks to the CS to clarify whether the National Police Service undertakes psychological and mental health assessments during recruitment, not during the service. I know many things can change, many things are dynamic, but during recruitment, when you are allowing new recruits to join the service, are these assessments really done?
I thought he answered that.
If he answered, I also doubt that.
He did, and I had it. And Honorable Nyikala is normally very meticulous. I can assure you if it was not answered, he would have raised it. He did. Honorable Mishimbogo.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, first I want to appreciate the Cabinet Secretary for the many interventions and the programs he has just mentioned in a way of fighting the mental health. And I want to say here that mental health is real, and mental health is with us. And we need to know that the issue of depression, the issue of anxiety, the issue of bipolar is with us. And especially for our Kenyans who are working in the security sector, they're really affected by mental health. You can imagine those KDF personnel who have been taken to do peacekeeping mission in Somalia and any other country. When they come back, they have trauma, and that is because of the nature of work they've gone to do. Those police officers taken to Haiti, and you can imagine what they have seen and experienced in Haiti in fighting with those people fighting the government in Haiti. So it is really high time to ensure that we have some intervention, we have some program, and we have proper funding to ensure that at least we have regional checking, and even how are we going to do to ensure that our security officers can be checked in terms of mental health. And my question would be, is these services or the intervention and the programs, are they devolved maybe in the police headquarters in our counties, or are they devolved also maybe in our sub-counties? Maybe we have some units whereby they deal with wellness, and the issue of wellness can include the mental health intervention. So I just want to know whether we have that, because in our sub-counties we have seen police officers committing suicide, killing their wives, police officers killing their husband, killing the family, and so many other tragedy incidences which we have seen. And this is because of mental health. So I'm just asking the Cabinet Secretary if you have done more intervention to devolve these programs and the intervention so that we ensure that we fight this mental health. Because today, maybe the public health centers, like in Nairobi, we have the Madhare. We go to Mombasa, we only have Portrees, which is a very small unit and cannot cater for so many cases of mental health. So, Honorable Cabinet, I just want to hear whether we have plans or you have done so. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Rachel Nyamai. Then, Minister, you answer those. We go to the next.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to joyride. I would like to ask the Cabinet Secretary whether I'm sure he's aware of several police officers who have lost their jobs because they are mentally unwell, and some have resorted to alcoholism. I will not cite the example that I've written about concerning a constituent, a person in my constituency. Honorable Speaker, is there a form of insurance to ensure that this person who becomes so stressed in the course of duty and becomes a drunkard is not just declared not useful for the service? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is not a question, and neither do I want to help the very able CS. Just want to bring to the attention of the House, or remind even the House, that already we have a bill in this House being sponsored by Honorable Masara, which Masara, actually to amend the National Police Service Commission to provide the provision to have psychosocial services in every county to address such issues of mental health and challenges among our police officers. So it is actually past the second stage, is awaiting this House to expedite the same.
Minister, can you respond to those?
Yes.
Old Minister, who is that? Chematia. Is that CNN or Chematia? Chematia?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to add, my concern also is on officers who have gone through these mental problems, and this also affects highly on their families. What happens when, for instance, a police officer is having troubles at work, and this probably goes to affect their family? Do we also have an extension of the same programs that is also aligned to their families? Because it's very rampant.
I think you had already said that. Okay. But go on, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is actually a very serious issue that is being confronted by the National Police Service. And for the 28 counties I have visited now to have an engagement with police officers, every of that